in that scenario, are you both free to date other people?
We didn't say that about. We didn't say nothing about dating other people. That's taking it a bit further. I said consequences. My consequences within my marriage would be you going to left wing. I don't know how long we're going to do it like this, but I want my kids to be raised with the mother and the father in the household. I'm not saying how long it would be like this, but right now, let me process all of this before I make a rash decision to say I want a divorce.
So you would say that you would be okay with this new baby and would you want to help raise it?
Say that last part again.
And would you want to help raise it?
Like I said, I'm still processing all of this. The child had nothing to do with what my husband decided to do. But while I'm still processing this, I have not gotten to the I forgive you yet. This is something new. But we still staying up under the same roof. We're gonna process this by you staying on your side and I'm staying on my side. And then we can come together and figure out what we're gonna do.
Well, I would think that with which is another topic in the same lines with what Nick Cannon is doing, a lot of women are in want to be in that line, where it's like pick me, because he's providing for the women. He's loving on the children. He's a provider, and he loves his families that he has created. So if it was a case where in Neil's situation that if he said, well, how about if I brought this other woman into our space, I would say, just give me Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm going to have my own separate quarters, but you give me Tuesdays and Fridays. And like once again, I could give a rat's ass whatever you want to do about anything else, as long as I have my provisions taken care of.
Mm-hmm. And those are your set of rules within that relationship. What would be your set of rules? Janae, would you file for divorce? Would he have to just go on? Excuse me, I have a banana in my mouth. I really think that's one of those scenarios where I can't really say how I'll respond until I'm in that scenario.
Oh, sure.
I think that's literally.
I'm saying it now. Will I be able to say the same?
You can say what all your deal breakers are. You can say what all of your restrictions are, all your requirements. But when it actually happens, the severity of how it happens, how long it's been going on, how many people, it's just a lot to tie into that to just say what my reactions or consequences would be. Because who knows? I might go red. I might go black. I might stay neutral. Who knows? And that's what I'm saying. It's something that you will have to process instead of reacting right then. Give me some time. I need to process all of this. And my process may be not you being in the left wing, because I probably need you to just completely leave out of my space. I don't know. I hear you. What do you say, Asha?
Well, I've told this story multiple times on Table Talk Thursdays, but as someone who's experienced their partner having a baby on them, I wouldn't recommend it staying because it's a lot of pain. But I wasn't yet married, so I'm not sure how I would have handled that within a marriage. And like Janae's saying, there's lots of factors that go into that. It's definitely case by case, and I do also feel like I love differently than I did back then. Like my attachment, my sense of ownership, my, immaturity, and a lot of different things within that relationship. I think that all played a factor in how I handled that type of situation as well. So I feel like a more mature version of myself within a marriage, I still think it would be a deal breaker, but I just can't say that for sure because, the circumstances would have to all align for it to be the best decision for me to leave. If this is something like a repeated pattern, you've been out there cheating and you finally done got somebody pregnant, man, I ain't going through all that. But if it's just so happened that you made a mistake, you had a night out drinking and you ended up sleeping with somebody, or you got caught up in something, and we're doing well and we're on the right tracks as a partnership, and we have children that we're raising together, who knows? I might be like, you know what? It is what it is. Bring the baby on with the weekends or whenever you're going to get them. They in the crew with the rest of us. So you just never know.
Well, ladies, once again, would you all please share. And while we're talking about women that publicly share their business within social media, Wendy Williams and her husband, she has not been the same since. She knew her husband was cheating on her, but I think the deal breaker for her was him conceiving a child outside of the relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of women's deal breakers, the child.
Yeah, that did it for her. And then the fact that, she had a miscarriage before, and I think it was a girl. And that pretty much did it because the child that he has is a little girl. And that was a lot for her to take in. And the fact that this man was using her money to use her money to set this woman pretty much straight.
Angel said, I came late. What is the topic discussion?
We're talking about infidelity in relationships and so much more. How much can you take before you call it quits? Or would you call it quits?
If y'all have any questions, comments, leave them here or pull up on our Zoom and you can join us live. The link is in my comments.
Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, with Wendy Williams, poor thing. A lot of people saying that this is karma, but I just think this woman took on so much that she couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And then all her ailments that she's dealing with, it looks real bad.
I think Wendy poured a lot of her hopes and dreams and trust into her marriage and into her husband. He managed her. And so she was dependent on him to have her best interest at heart. And I think in her movie that she had, she wasn't able to have sexual intimacy with him for long periods of time. And, so snuck out on her. But once again, having a full baby and parading this woman around as if they were on vacation, they were spotted together. Kevin, her husband, and this woman that he got pregnant. And so it was kind of like a slap in the face for Wendy that, everything that they built together. So when these guys talk about, let's build an empire. Okay, how high do we need to get before you want to take a fall?
Well, honey, one thing about it, it's not like Wendy just all of a sudden found out about this other woman. A lot of these women know about these other women.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want, a lot of them don't want to believe it. A lot of them act like, what if I, did this or that to, make myself look better to him? Or maybe if I gave him more, things will be better.
You start to overcompensate.
Yeah, but in actuality, a lot of times when a man cheats, it's not even about what you're not doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's all about him and what he may be lacking within himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have to have, I believe, your own set of rules between you and your partner. Rules. Your own set of what we do. Boundaries. Your own set of what are we doing? Mm-hmm. What does our relationship look like for us? Mm-hmm. What are the consequences behind some of our actions if we you don't want me to look at you baby, you have a whole bunch of consequences if we disrespect or go over one of these lines. But I definitely think they should be between you and your person. Not what your mama think, not what your auntie told you, not what your folks raised you on, but what is it that you truly feel should be You feel me? Go ahead, girl. What is it that you truly feel works between you and your person, and then y'all do that? Y'all business, the disrespect, the infidelity, y'all handle that and figure out how y'all gonna work through it.
You know what? It's such a damn shame that we have to sit down and with adults talking about what is the boundaries. What are some of the things that I'm not going to accept in this relationship? Those things should have been talked about prior to us even getting together.
Angel said, I like that, Jay. Every relationship is going to look different.
Of course. I would want my relationship to look no other than what I want within my relationship. You know?
Dwayne says some men just never grow up.
Mhm.
Well, I know that, you know, as being public figures, it's almost like they're looking for what the public opinion is, and then they make a decision on, you know, being ashamed or, you know, how that looks in the public eye. You know, F the public eye. This is your personal life, you know. And then I know it's kind of hard because a lot of these people that are entertainers and in the public eye rely upon people's opinions in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. And then Neo, I think he made a statement about it being private and this and that. There is no privacy when you're in the public eye, when you're an entertainer. All your business out there.
Yeah.
Question. I have a question. Do y'all feel that there is a such thing as a man being ready?
When he's Bill Cosby's age.
Oh my goodness.
I definitely think I definitely think there's a such thing as a man being ready. That a man that is just tired of whatever it is that he's gone through or that he's put other people through, that has done some work on themselves, that has grown up, matured, and just knows what they want. Like if you know you want a family, you know you want a wife and you want children and you want to treat that woman at a certain standard, then you're going to do that. But if you have no desire to, if you don't see yourself as a married man or a family man, and you just doing it because you think that that's supposed to be a part of your plan for the age that you're in, or you just going with the flow, or you doing something, getting married to somebody because you feel pressured, then I think that's where more mistakes come in at. Not saying that a ready man won't make any mistakes, but I do think that there's a such thing as a man that's ready.
I think that sometimes when these men are wanting to hold back some of the benefits that they have accumulated, then they start to, get into their feelings about, should I share this? Whether that's your pensions, your 401k, your retirement plan. They're wanting to be able to keep all of these nest eggs to themselves. They don't want to share that. But what they end up having is bed sores. You know, they're not actually able to function. They can't see, they can't walk, they can't hear. Then they become ready. But because you're holding back all of these things that you have accumulated, who do you want to share these things with in your retirement? Stop saying that you are getting ready to have retirement because your ass is tired. And don't nobody want to deal with your tired ass. You got to be able to be lively, to want to be able to share. You got to have a kind heart when you talk about you ready for somebody. Stop being concerned about how much you got to share with these women.
And it even goes before the pension and 401k and the damn retirement. These dudes is thinking, oh, I don't want to be used for a dinner date. You ain't got enough discernment to know if a woman likes you enough that if she's there for you or there for the meal, they worried about date money. Oh, I ain't going to spend no money. We got to go do this. And like, you're worried about the wrong thing. What are your intentions on, and where's your discernment on who you're spending your time and energy and money with?
Right.
He need to stay at home. Angel said, yes, the question is, what does his ready look like? Yes, everybody has a different image of what ready looks like. Dwayne said, women have to learn. They don't have to take that. They should never base their work on a man or how he feels about them. He also said, so proud of you. I remember you. Oh, man. Still beautiful. Okay. All right.
And you are absolutely correct, Sweet Tea. It should not be just about finances. Make sure this woman likes you. Make sure this woman cares for you. Because you may not always be within sound mind and body.
Right.
You may need somebody to wipe your ass one day.
Right.
You know, and if this is someone that truly loves and wants to take care of you, she's not going to put you in a nursing home. She's going to take care of you.
Right.
You know?
There was a lady.
Beyond finances sometimes, fellas.
Exactly. And there was a lady during when the COVID was starting, I guess in the later part of 2020, and she worked as a nurse or what have you. And she said that there were a lot of old, quote unquote, players that came into the nursing home based upon not having any other family, not a woman in their life. So they had gotten to the point where at that point, they weren't able to wipe their ass because they're so busy trying to hold back whether they want to settle down, whether they want to make a commitment, whether they want to be ready. They're ready, but they want to be ready for a whole community.
Not community.
And Sweet Tea, I have noticed on my timeline that some of the guys that, you know, I'm acquainted with are getting married or have gotten married. These men are tired of paying their own bills.
Oh, is that what it?
It all boils down to, it's not just about love anymore for a lot of these guys. They're tired.
I've been seeing a lot of people get married too, but I definitely think that a lot of intentions are not in the right space. And I think that what y'all are saying, Sweet Tea and Cleopatra, when it comes to somebody actually liking you, not just being in love, not just I want to be with you, but do I like you? As just a regular person without the attachment of you, my man, I have to like you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not gonna force anything, not even the size 10 foot in a 9.5 shoe. I'm not gonna force anything. That's where Asha's talking about.
What if it looks cute?
Oh, if it looks cute, this foot's getting in that shoe. Regard if it looks cute, this foot is cramming in that mother sucker.
Oh man.
Absolutely. I used to do that back in the day.
Well, there is a new study out that's showing that dating opportunities for men are decreasing as more healthy relationship standards arise, which is basically showing us that women are no longer accepting the bare minimum. We're not settling for what we don't want or don't desire. And it's getting hard out here for the men. So, you know, we often hear what men say, oh, y'all outnumber us 10-1, or you know, there's plenty more options. That we have way more options than you have. But the studies and the statistics are showing that you really don't have that many options, because the women that you do want, they don't want you because you're not meeting their standards. It's not just about your finances and what you look like. What are you bringing to the table when it comes to values, conversation, ambition, and those other things? So the men are more single now than ever.
And I think that with
Sweet Tea, we have a caller that's been patiently waiting. Go ahead, Janae. You have a question or comment? Welcome to the table.
What's going on with the table? How y'all doing?
Yo, just fine.
I'm sure y'all doing just
I
fine.
don't see nobody.
You have a question or a comment?
Question and comment. I hear y'all talking about ready and all that stuff, yeah?
is he on the Zoom call?
You know, on Janae.
Oh,
Oh, Instagram.
Okay.
All right, so what is ready? Ready for what?
now
I wouldn't even answer that question.
No.
Don't even answer that. 'cause
no,
this-
you're not ready.
Yeah, if you have to ask, then you're not ready.
You're not
what
ready.
does ready mean to you?
I want to know your perspective as a man.
Yeah, why we gotta tell you what the hell ready means?
Based on my experiences, I feel like I need to ask the women, like, what does that mean to you?
It don't mean a damn thing to me. It don't mean a damn thing to me, baby. I'm not gonna force anything whatever you want to be ready for, be ready, baby. I'm good. I'm good.
They still got us on mute.
Just sit up here and worry about what you ready for. Really, you don't know what he ready for. Man, please. Excuse me?
What does being ready?
Come on, look up shot. Damn that shot.
Come down and have a sweet tea is being ready to look like. Yeah, shit.
What does it mean to you? Is what I'm asking. Everything that I hear her saying, everything that I hear her saying seems so selfish, you know?
Wow.
Like a lot of women are so fucking selfish. Like, it's not even funny. Like, everything gotta be about women, and women want this, and women want that, and women want that, so women want that. Yo, luckily, men don't want too much.
Question.
You don't even know what he's ready
look
for.
like to you? What would that look like from you?
All right. So, for a woman, it's different for women and men.
Yeah, we talking
Why he
about
keep
you.
talking about all of that?
I'm not talking about me personally.
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about.
I'm saying that it's different for women and men.
Okay, so you can't
He
answer
ain't ready.
what does ready look like for you? Not any man but you.
So, but I can speak for me.
Okay.
Okay. Ready for me to be in a relationship. It means to be ready to be selfless.
Okay.
Ready to be a protector.
Okay.
Ready to be a professor.
A professor.
Ready to be a provider. When I say
Okay.
professor, I don't
And
mean
Steve
like
Harvey.
Right. He's saying that
Protect, provide,
showing the
defend.
love and affection.
to
Mhm.
profess
Words of
and
affirmation.
to
Right.
provide.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what it means to be ready.
Well, that sounds great.
Most women I find need men to be ready.
And what's wrong with that?
I mean, good luck with that.
He said, "Good luck with that."
I don't even, well, I would say that's just a part of being ready, in my opinion. Like, a man could be, oh, okay.
Excuse me? Who is this?
Go ahead, honey.
Who am I talking to anyway? What's your name? Identify yourself, because I don't like to talk to people that I don't know.
We can't even see you. You called the radio show. So we have already identified ourselves by introducing ourselves in the beginning.
I know y'all too. I want to relax.
Oh, let me relax. That's free tea and also sweets. If you want to join the whole table, you can click the link. I put it in the description. That way you'll be able to come on here to see everyone. It's in the chat.
Yo, so lo siento. I like that. That means I'm sorry. But anyways, ready. Yeah. Ready. What ready mean?
What I was saying was, even if a man is in a position to protect, provide, and profess, that still doesn't necessarily mean that he's ready. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he's ready for a particular woman. He could be in a financially good place. He could be, in a position to be protective and want to do all that. But are you healed? Do you know what you want? Are you ready to let go of some things that may not align with what we're trying to do together? And then is the woman that you're dealing with, is that the woman you're ready for? Because a lot of men are spending multiple months and years with women that they don't even want, waiting for the women that they do want. So
Hey, so I want to ask a question real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, look. So regardless of what you just said, real is real, right? Regardless of anything you said a while ago, the only thing that's real is the shit that's real. And I'm
okay.
gonna tell you right now.
Now we're talking in riddles.
Are you in America?
Yo, man, listen. Regardless of whether in America or not,
Mhm.
men and men,
You gotta talk
regardless,
shit.
America, all over the world, they think I want women to be women.
What does that look like? Because that means something different to every man too.
Does it?
I think everyone has different
Do you guys talk to men about what kind of men?
That's why we're asking you now.
One of my comments says that that's facts about spending time with women we really have no intentions.
Let me get it clear real quick.
Oh, now I know who we're talking to.
Who?
I think they do.
Okay, now I know. Okay, you need to relax. But we're gonna hold on for a minute. We don't have that much time left, but we want to get your some more of your input, David. Now that we know who I'm talking to on this other line. But
Since I came out alive, it's been women talking.
that's why we
In
invited
a
you.
man's perspective.
Men are always welcome to get a perspective. That's why
So what I'll be able to talk to you.
I got my Wi-Fi worked on today, so I'm glad it's working well. Thank you.
can y'all log
I'm
that
not
on?
getting no blood clot.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you do it last time?
I had to plug the numbers in. Here it
I
is.
don't know why Zoom be tripping like that. Is there a passcode too?
Table.
Oh.
Capital T.
All right, Joe.
Thanks you all for being patient with us as we get back into the conversation here. Did you sign in?
Oh no. What in the world? I think that's
Did
sign
you do
in.
the join meeting?
I did all of it. 1 second, Joe.
205-708. And then take. Should be all.
Hello.
Their strong ass accent.
I can't tell.
So-
That was David that was doing the lines, and he got on off when he found that his high school sweetheart was on the line watching.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
I already knew who that was when he first got on there.
Yeah, that accent was real strong.
Are we defining what we feel that what ready is, or are we asking the men?
I want to hear from whoever thinks they have the answer as well. So if there are any men who are watching this and y'all feel like y'all know what your definition of what's ready looks like, join us.
What does being ready look like for you all that are listening and watching in a relationship? What does being ready mean as a man? What does that mean for you?
But yeah,
If you all have anyone that wish to join us live, send them the link so they can answer this question.
but while we're waiting, one of my comments was saying that was facts about spending time with women they really have no intention of marrying. And it's way more common than we think. These men will go on, for years and years in a relationship, leading a woman on, thinking that they're going to evolve in some type of way. When meanwhile, he's looking for the upgrade, especially when they're upgrading their own lives. When they meet a woman at a certain level and then they gain a certain amount of success, or they might get finer, they grow to, whatever they do to feel like they're on another level. They want a woman that's on that level now, instead of that woman that's been with them the whole time.
Right.
So, women have to be careful for that too. Ready for a relationship.
You're muted. You can't hear you. Okay.
Wait a minute, ain't no fuck that. You see my finger, that means give me a minute.
Oh, that's
Oh.
somebody
I'm
talking.
gonna fuck that. Now you can talk. Go ahead.
Let me tell you how much you earn means nothing. It's how you are with me.
So are you saying that you will provide since you're not worried about what all she has going on?
Yes.
Angel, can I add multiple people?
Absolutely.
So I tell you what. So most of the time, niggas get with a whole bunch of women because of what? It's because ain't nobody want to get caught up with somebody who think that they're more than what they are. You know what I mean?
What's wrong with that?
I'm Jamaican, so I speak in my language. Can you understand?
Oh, I can understand it clearly.
I speak English too, but it takes me a whole lot of time.
Okay, well,
Especially when I'm drinking. Especially when I'm drinking.
I was gonna say it seemed like some alcohol was involved.
Just call me mama, because I like the way you say that. David, just hold on. We have another call on the line. Go ahead, Angel.
I wanted to give my definition already. I commented and I said radio can look different for different people. And it's also, I feel like it's different levels to being ready. But what I can say is we put a lot of emphasis on words that it really don't have a meaning. It's just really, I feel like it's really a conversation. Like to ready or to not to be ready or to not be ready is not the point. It's having those meaningful conversations with somebody that I feel like if you look at them as a partner and somebody you want to build with, just having those uncomfortable conversations and letting that person know these are my expectations, even though expectations can lead to disappointment. But putting those boundaries up in the beginning, saying these are my expectations, and then that person letting you know what their expectations are, and then y'all making a conscious decision to see if y'all can merge those things together to continue building from there. But if their expectations is going to reduce you or belittle you or put you in a situation to where you can't grow, then I feel like that's where we have to make the decision to disconnect from that person. But a lot of times that women, we see red flag and we still press the gas instead of going in reverse.
Absolutely.
So anyway, another thing too, I feel like it can be overwhelming if you put too many boundaries up in if you set so many expectations in the beginning. I feel like it can create an overwhelming type of feeling for yourself and your partner. I just think it's a flow. Just go with the flow, and you're gonna connect with that person. If you don't connect with it no more, you can just keep it moving. If y'all don't connect, something happens, they start being disrespectful, they start cheating, whatever the case may be, it's okay to be like, okay, this is what's going on. And if they continue, I'm gonna give you another chance or not, I'm out the door. So it's communicating. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it's not being ready or not. It's just about having the proper conversations.
So is cheating a deal breaker in a relationship for you?
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, here we go.
Angel, is cheating a deal breaker for you in a relationship?
Cheating is a deal breaker because I'm too open. I'm honest, and I've been a part of a polygamous relationship where I allow my partner to have another partner. And we got to the point where we all lived in the same home. And I feel like I wanted to try it because this is a person I built a friendship with first, and I understood them as a friend. Me and my partner, my male partner, because polygyny, a lot of times when men have two women, a lot of people think that the women are bisexual or they're together, but that's not the original history of polygyny. Is where the man lead and then he have multiple wives and they build a foundation together. They continue to build an empire, do things. They put their creativity and abilities together to create income and to build wealth and to raise kids, put their minds together when they say great minds think alike, put pretty much whatever resources is a way for you to understand yourself as a woman, being around another woman and watching your partner who you build a relationship, build a friendship with somebody else, and not address yourself and your jealousy, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Where is it coming from? Understanding that it don't go away, that jealousy is an emotion just like being happy, being sad, being mad, being glad, that it's going to exist. Is how you address it when it comes up. What do you do about it? And if it's coming from a place where you think it's never go away or it's detrimental to your health, then you gotta release it. And I don't feel like the jealousy was detrimental to my health, but it was clarity. Well, it helped me gain clarity about men, about other relationship dynamics, things that I wanted to grow on. And it was different, but it felt good knowing the person that my partner was dealing with.
Well, let me ask you this, Angel. Not to sound,
I don't know why you keep going out.
Can you hear me? I can hear you now, but I wanted to ask you a question that a lot of people may want to know. Do you think that you got to know that type of relationship because you felt like he was going to cheat anyway?
No.
Hold on. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me better?
No, it's in her phone.
Okay, can you hear us? I feel like I was in this type of relationship because of it. It's going in. Like I hear some words that'll go out and come back in. She said, do you feel like you chose this type of relationship because of feelings that you would get cheated on anyway? Yes. I do feel like that was an insecurity of mine. I do feel like because he was my friend for 4 years and I knew him on a platonic level, that he was the type that really wouldn't be satisfied with just one woman. I felt that way. And then once we started dating, he actually voiced it and he let me know. I really didn't want to let him know that I felt that way because I didn't want to put no ideas in his head. But my intuitive ability is knowing as a friend, I knew that was the type of person that he was, and we had a discussion about it. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. But the funny part about trying it, I feel like it strengthened our bond even more in a way that it's like we have a connection that's different. It's like I entrusted him to try that with me, and he learned some things, I learned some things, and even the third partner learned some things. But then when we saw that it wasn't going to work in this dynamic, and the partner, the third person, they left, and then we had to kind of rebuild kind of where we left off at, it actually strengthened our bond in a high way.
Well, let me get some of the other ladies' input over here. Asha, did you want to add something?
I wanted to read some of the comments that was going on over here. So he was saying that he spent 2 years with the woman and was looking for an upgrade the whole time. He regrets it, but it happened. Being ready for a relationship means being willing to sacrifice some of your personal happiness to be with somebody. If you're not willing to make sacrifices and compromises, you're not ready for a relationship. He said, I really hate how people treat relationships like they're hiring somebody for a job. And then he said, I like polygamy if the dude can afford 2 women and they don't got to do nothing. I don't like polygamy where everybody got a 9-to-5. That's useless. And then he said, I take that back. It ain't useless, but I don't know. It's just not sexy. Yeah.
I wanted to add something too when it comes to what ready means, what I would think ready would mean. And I think ready means literally just willing to do the work, willing to communicate, willing to, just adjust or not conform, but adjust and mold whatever it is that we decide that it's going to be. Just literally what the word ready means. I think a lot of times guys think ready is when I have my bank account to a certain amount. Ready is when I drive a certain type of car, when I live in a certain type of house. Ready is when I forgot all about the other women that I'm dealing with and now that I'm, to even try the process. the ability to say, I'm ready to put in that work. Just when it comes to healing. Healing is not just going to happen on its own. You have to be ready, right? When it comes to leaving an abusive or domestic situation with someone, it's not just going to happen on its own. You have to be ready.
Okay, what do you think about, like, last week caller? He said he wasn't ready to be a husband, but yet and still he was acting, doing husband-like duties. They already living together. They already have a child. He's in the house cooking and doing whatever else you do in a relationship, but you're not ready to make that move towards marriage when that's something that you want to do.
I feel that he is ready because he's showing that he's ready. He's scared. He's showing that he's ready. Like you said, it's just the fear of what the word and the title of I'm married now would probably bring is what creates a lot of resistance when it comes to people feeling like they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't feel that he's in a place to protect and provide. Yet you're doing that, and she's sitting there watching you do that, and she's okay with it. So I think a lot of times people get in their own way when it comes to what ready could look like, just trying to live up to what they feel that expectation should be.
And I think that's a lot of fear for a lot of men.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like making your standards the societal norm because it's been ingrained in you so much that you have to be a provider. But what does being a provider look like to you? If in their dynamic, they were splitting bills, but that might be okay for her. She's an entrepreneur. He's still working on his dreams, trying to figure things out, but he's still contributing. But I guess he's thinking, well, my girl is an entrepreneur. I got to have something better than that. I got to have more money than that. I have to have this certain amount. When, like you said, he's already in the role without the title, thinking that he has to have a certain amount of money. It's never going to be perfectly aligned or perfectly ready to do anything. If you're going to do it, you just got to do it when if everything else is aligned, that one little thing shouldn't be, what you say, what makes you feel like you're not ready. But I think that's just conditioning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to Nash.
I think, I'm sorry, Cleopatra. I think that for me to be ready, we're talking about to be present and to be available to create our lives, because we're talking about building or having a healthy relationship. And within that healthy relationship, there comes, as you say, Janae, a lot of work, because we got to look at our nutrition. What are we consuming? We have to look at our mental health. We have to be able to help each other to be in a space of complete wholeness as a healthy person. And in order for you to be healthy, there's a lot of things that you have to work on, and you have to be ready. To be ready, you have to be prepared to have the education on the right things to eat. You have to have the education on how you maintain your healthy body through exercise, meditation. So this is a whole system that we have, a plan of action, if you will, on how we're going to make each other be the best human beings that we can be as we are together. There's work to be done, because we have to heal ourselves from all of the bad habits that we have learned. And so that is a part of the work to create healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I was just going to say, ready is what works for you in your relationship. Because a lot of people are so consumed with what tradition means in a relationship, and that's what their focus is on. Like, this is what we're supposed to do in our relationship because this is what our grandparents and our mothers did. But do what works for you in your relationship. You're the one that has to live within this relationship. So many people try to go with what tradition says do.
Absolutely. And I agree with what Asha was saying when it comes to, like, everything is not going to be perfectly aligned ever. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to say it's not going to be ever, because there are times when things are more aligned than others. But when it comes to the aspect of just being whatever 100% ready looks like, I don't feel that we're ever 100% confident in the decisions that we're making, or 100% ready to start that business, 100% ready to launch that new idea. We're not ever 100% ready, but we just know that it's a time that, okay, I'm ready to try it.
Right.
Mm.
I agree.
Like even becoming a parent. You know, there's certain things that I want to do before I become a parent. I want to learn, I want to research, I want to have certain things established. But if enough things are aligned, then I'll be, you know, I'm gonna embrace motherhood. I'm not gonna wait until, okay, I got this amount of money in my bank account. I've been through this many certifications. I got this, you know, perfect man that we've been together for this amount of years. We've traveled, you know, everything might not be perfect, but as long as you're prepared and, like you say, have the willingness to put in effort to be the best that you can, and that's all you can do. We still muted.
If you have a person that you became friends with, that motivates you, they inspire you, y'all travel together, y'all have great sex, great communications, y'all chemistry is there, y'all like-minded, they can teach you things, they taught you things, y'all read together, study religions, just mesh well, understand each other, have uncomfortable conversations without judgment, y'all transitioning y'all diets together, building, ascending, growing, putting y'all income, y'all finances together, building gardens, doing a lot of things that's leading to growth and extension. And they say, oh, y'all have all these connections with each other. And they say, well, I love you. You know that they'll do anything for you. They've shown it through their actions. They're not just said it. But then they say, I want to have just one more wife. I want to have another person a part of this unity with us, and I want us all to do these things together. This person is financially stable, they're mentally stable, they're growing their gardens, they're doing a lot of the things that we're wanting to do. What would be your answer if you feel secure in your spot in that relationship? They're gonna give you massages, you get off of work sometime, you may have some water in the tub, you may have a day where you just feel going to shopping the street, get your man steady. What would be your answer? Hell no. All that sounds good. I can get that with one man that's willing to do all that for me. Have you met a man that's willing to do all that though? I have. You make it sound good. All of that sounds good. But what is the negative? What is the you showed us the positive side to this? What is the negative side to this? The negative side is doing work, the willingness to learn that person, the willingness to compromise, the willingness to have uncomfortable conversations without judgment, the willingness to do the work, the meditation, the self-reflecting, maybe even talking to, if you choose to talk to the psychiatrist independently or together, the addressing the childhood traumas, just addressing a lot of stuff going inner, the introspective part of it. I feel like when we address ourselves in that way, then it don't really matter. To me, it mattered so much to me at one point, so I put a lot of pressure on something that didn't really matter, because I'm still getting the things that I want and the feelings that I want. Even though this person has the desire to give some of those same things to somebody else, I don't even care, because they're taking away nothing from what I'm getting.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Some of the other ladies answer. Made me feel good. Let me let some of the other ladies answer.
Okay, so I just kind of want to know, what does the daily life look like in terms of how are we structuring our home life? You know, as he comes home from work, are there anything in place in terms of, you know, the sleeping arrangements, our meal plan, meal prep? You know, do we watch TV together? What does the daily life look like? Are we helping raise the children? Is there a protocol for all of the sister wives to work together? What does the community conversations look like in terms of the strategy of planning what we do on a day-to-day basis?
Angel, she said, what does the day look like? What does the day-to-day look table, and we have discussions about, okay, what are you working on today? Are you doing something in relation to your creativity, to your business? Did you write a poem today? Do you want to share that with us? And he'll go, okay, this is the clients that I have today. If I can assist him in any kind of way, or he can assist me in any kind of way on what we're doing on that particular day. We talk about those kind of things, like forward movement, not so much about, like, if we have a date plan, like we used to do that, like I planned a date, but it wasn't like I got Fridays and Mondays and she got Saturdays and Thursdays. It's a flow. It's a continuation. We didn't overwhelm ourselves with the small details.
That shit, it sounds so good, cuz it sounds so good, Angel. True.
But I don't know if it's morning Sunday. I don't know if she will be morning Wednesday. You just have it.
It sounds good. The type of person I am. Without
So one day I just see you moving.
I said all of that sounds amazing. It sounds such like a beautiful flow, but the way that my mind works, just as an individual person, especially without a system in place, and it's a whole nother woman sitting up in there. I don't know.
I hate that the connection messing up.
You didn't hear me? She probably had to join the Zoom. It's probably, was you trying to join the Zoom, Angel? Try to get the Zoom link from the chat that I put in there. It's probably better if you come on this one.
Well, you know what? The system is more set up in place on the.
Let me see if I can send it to her in her DM.
Okay, I'm gonna get off here.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Alrighty. Let me get off here.
No, Tanya, y'all still on?
Yes, we're here.
Yeah.
What do you have to add to that, Asha? Because to me, honestly, it sounds like Angel, I'm sure she can still hear me, she pretty much conformed to doing what it is that he wanted her to do within that relationship.
Well, I mean, I think like she was saying, she's tried so many different other methods, like being in monogamous relationships, and then the men were cheating, or she might have cheated, or married men, or being with a married man unknowingly. I guess it was just something she was willing to try, and it sounded like she learned a lot about herself in the process. So maybe it was just something that she did for a season. Maybe it's not something that she wants to do long term. But some people was like, they are willing to try anything at least once to see if it works for them. So I think, for me, I can say now that I don't feel like that's something that I would be interested in. But who knows? Just like we said with the deal breaker of having a baby. If I met a man and he was all my dream man, running baths and massaging me, and we building and got all this stuff that's going on, and then this is brought to me at the time, who knows what my answer might be? I feel like it'll no, because I don't really feel like I would handle that well, but you just never know.
Yeah, you don't ever know. I'm thinking, just imagine you in bathtub getting massaged down, mood just set. He cooked for me, my feet rubbed, everything just amazing. And then after that, he comes in, all right, I'm going up here with he don't even tell you. He don't even have to tell you. He going over there with sister girl. He's finna get ready. You already know it's her turn. See, you have to see one of the things, like Angel was saying, jealousy is something that you probably gonna have to work on forever within those past relationships. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's definitely a mindset, and it's an agreement that you have with yourself and then everyone else involved, because you have to decide, is this going to be best for you? Are you able to handle all of these different types of scenarios? So if the answer is no, and you cannot handle, in terms of sharing a man knowingly, then that's not going to be for you.
Yeah, I don't think it's for me.
But if this man is doing all these things that you wish a man would do in a monogamous relationship, you getting all of these things within that relationship, do you think that would be something that you would, try to see if you could handle it?
You're talking about being in a polygamous relationship?
Yes.
Absolutely. Like I say, I would have my own separate quarters, if you will. And I would want to see him on Tuesdays and Fridays.
First of all, I don't think in those type of relationships, which I don't know, I would think the man would be in charge of how we gonna do things within this household, not you.
But she still just want Tuesday and Friday. What's up with the Tuesday and Friday? You don't want no Monday?
No, love. I just kind of want to be able to have my rest. I have to have my beauty rest. I have to be able to have my self-care regimen. And as long as all of my needs and wants are being provided for and that I have done the work necessary to heal myself, I could give a rat's ass what he has going on and to make him happy.
Well, I have a few more comments over here. He says, it's kind of going back. He said, I met a woman and we had an amazing vibe, but she wasn't ready because she was still in therapy dealing with old relationship trauma. We tried, but it just didn't work because she wasn't ready. He says, I want to be married and in love before I have kids. I take all precautions. I don't want no baby mamas. If a man wants to bring another wife into the relationship, he basically is saying you're not enough for him mentally, sexually, or spiritually. I'm just being honest. Instead of sharing a dude, why not go find a man who loves you to death? She's simply picking the wrong men. The men who would be loyal to her, she probably consider them lames. Ask the man if you can bring in another husband and see what the answer is.
Well, we already know that.
There's some men that are open to that too.
Let's ask Angel that question. Angel, would you ever consider bringing another man into the relationship, or is that allowed?
Is her phone on mute?
Her connection's probably loading.
Because I don't know anything about polygamy and how that kind of stuff works, but it sounds like the man controls what goes on within those relationships.
Not in a healthy dynamic.
Not necessarily. I think everyone has an opinion.
Polygamy? Because you all so talking like y'all know. I'm asking the Angel, that's the person that's in it.
Okay, here we go. I had to do my audio. I'm like an old lady with this thing. Okay, here it is. What you asking?
I'm asking, in that type of relationship, can you bring a man in the relationship, another man?
No, I wouldn't want to.
I said, could you?
No, that's off the table. Like
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, Angel. I'm just gonna be me. That sounds like some selfish shit.
And I can understand the perspective because I battle with it a little bit because I was hard on myself at first and I felt like, oh, people go look at me like I'm stupid or she's dumb for trying that. But then I had to not care because one thing about it, people go judge you no matter what you do. So I had to worry about Angel. And when I look at it, it can be selfish. And one thing about it, the same stuff that you go through in a polygynous relationship, you go through it in a monogamous relationship as well. It's not really so much of a big difference. It's just it's just a perspective. And when you're in a monogamous relationship, you still have that little fear that your man may cheat. No matter if you allow him to have another girlfriend or not, you still gonna feel that way in some way, shape, or form. That insecurity gonna arise within us as women because I don't feel like it ever go away. And I feel like that's the same with men. That desire for another woman and that curiosity and that masculine energy that most alpha males have in them, the ones that work hard and able to provide and have high credit where they can go get a home like how Charles did and create an environment for us to build within. I feel like they're going to have that desire in them and it's just not going to go away. So to satisfy my selfishness and to satisfy his selfishness, I allowed it to happen because it created a different level of comfort within me because he don't hide nothing. I can go on his phone whenever I want to. If he's talking on the phone with a female that's a friend, he can put it on speakerphone. I don't get no sneaky energy. I don't get none of those energies and insecurities I got when I was in a monogamous relationship. They don't exist. And I'm okay and it feels good. But it's weird because it's a dynamic that's not traditional. So I have to worry. The judgment I know is going to be there. My mom, she don't agree with it. She think it's crazy as hell. But I know how I feel, and that's my selfishness. I can only care about that.
Right.
And I think there's different dynamics of polygamy. There are certain polygamists. I think it's a different title, polygamy and polygyny, as far as if there's multiple men allowed versus multiple women. So I think that there's difference of dynamics too. It might not be looked at as selfish if Angel already doesn't have a desire for another husband or another man, or the woman doesn't have a desire for it, then it's an agreement at that point. If she did and her man said, nope, we're not doing that, then she would have to look at if that's the type of dynamic she wants to be in.
Other options, right? And when he looked for women, as far as the women, when we were going through the process to choose the woman that was going to be our sister wife, we only selected women that was comfortable with not having another male in the situation, with only being comfortable with myself and himself, and that's it, not including other energies in our triangle that we was making. So that was one of the expectations and one of the things that was communicated. And then as far as me being a part of the process, you have some people that have these type of relationships, and a woman be like, you know what, find a woman, and then when you find her, let me meet her, and then we figure this out together. And then you have some women like myself that want to be a part of the process, saying, whether, okay, I feel like she's not even worth our energy, or let's dive a little deeper and maybe all of us go out together, go catch a movie, go to dinner, see how we feel when we're all together. But it's a process. It's not instant gratification like how the world put a lot of things. It's not. It was work. It was conversations. It was exposing demons. It was meditating together. It was praying together. It was so much of other work, and it still turned out to be a failure because there was so much other healing that had to happen on all three of our parts. So he thought he was ready for more than what he realized, and then when we started, it was all okay. We got to end because some more work got to be done before we can actually be a part of this type of relationship. But we had to do that before we knew that.
How does that work for you in terms of wanting family? How did that come into place with wanting to conceive children?
How did it come into play when it's time to conceive children?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of with this one man that you're selecting to be the man of the house, how does that work for you if you want to have family?
Well, that's the whole point of it. It makes it easier. It makes it a family dynamic. You're supposed to want to have kids. Like, it's okay to create life, and for him to have kids, for her to have kids, for me to have kids, and for us to blend our family together, because now you have multiple perspectives. You have an alpha male, you have a perspective from what we would call a bonus mom, and then you have a perspective from the kid's actual mother. So when it go back to taking a village, now you have all these different people a part of these kids' life and a part of cultivating them. And I feel like that's okay. It just because it's not an aunt or a grandmother or a sister, it's a sister wife. It's a bonus mom who can come in and do the same things that an aunt can do, or that a grandmother can do, or that a sister can do. It's just a different type of family dynamic. That's all.
Well, let me add someone else to the conversation. Adrian, do you have a question or comment?
No, I agree with the young lady about how her perception of what polygamy is, and the benefits of just, having an inside of the house village that you can build upon. And as long as, the vision inside of the house is towards the same direction, there's going to be, one of the ladies could be proficient in science than the other. Or, one of the mothers can be more proficient, any subject that, the kid may, face in life. So, it's all about family building. They think that, a lot of people think that polygamy is just based off of a man wanting to basically have sex with multiple women. And real men who practice polygamy know that it's much, much deeper than having multiple sexual partners.
More. It's a lot to it. Sex is one of the things, and men do have a strong sexual desire, And it is fun to be able to have sex with two different women. It's different. And I can understand it from a male perspective as well, because even you got women that desire multiple men. And like, do that make them a bad person? Do that make them selfish? Do that, and it can make them those things, but it doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's just different.
Well, we're gonna have to log off and come back in. Would just log back out and we'll continue this conversation.
Use the same link, y'all.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to get that fixed. Thank you all for being patient with us and keeping up with us. Instagram, hey,
What
I
do
see
you
y'all
guys
joining.
feel about polygamous relationships? Let me see some of the comments here.
I don't know if there are any.
It's definitely not selfish.
That was Adrian who just joined.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
That's not your mama's sleeping. Mama been up all day doing
Scroll it back up, Mom, so we can see the new comments when they
doing
come
a lot of intricate work that requires my energy and mental capacity. So sometimes that drains me.
But we still here.
But I wouldn't knock another person because that's what they chose to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. I think it's like a matter of self-awareness too that comes to play. Just you knowing you enough to know what you could possibly deal with, and you knowing yourself enough to know what you probably could deal with at this moment. And she felt like it's something she
But
can.
I'm saying too, what if, in the midst of all of this, he decides that he wants them together?
If that's what they choose to do in their situation, then that's their conversation and their choosing. It has to be something that they agree with in their relationship.
But I just say it just sounds like a win-win no matter what for him. And it's almost like I'm accepting this because I want to be with you. And this is the only way I can be with you is if I accept this lifestyle.
I think there's some. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Adrian.
I was gonna say that could be said about any type of aspect that you want out of your partner. Whether you say, you meet a person, you like them a lot, but they smoke cigarettes. The stipulation as to us becoming an actual unit is that you have to stop smoking cigarettes. If you can't stop smoking cigarettes, we can't be together. We can have our fun or do whatever like that, but as far as a committed relationship, I can't do that with you if you're going to be smoking cigarettes. I don't want to kiss you in the mouth because you got Newport breath or something like that. So any type of, it's not necessary. It's not supposed to be a win-win for him. It's a win-win for everybody in the relationship, because everything, a part of the relationship has to be agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
He can't just force the women to interact sexually with each other because that's what he wants. If he wants that, then he can present that idea to them, and they can decide if that's something that they want to pursue or not. And he has to respect that, because it's respect within your relationship. You're not just because you're the king of the house, whatever you say is go. And yeah, everybody still has choices. It's nothing is forced upon anybody.
Well, I want to say something really quick. A real alpha male with the right damn it, what's the word I want to use? With the right intention, he don't even want two women that sexually interacting with each other anyway, because now it's throwing the balance off. You don't want an alpha male who is creating this type of environment where it's a man and two women in a home that's building a home where there's kids involved or not. I feel like the two women, a masculine woman and another woman trying to come together and be sexual, I just feel like it throw off the entire chemistry in the home anyway. I had never had a threesome before in my life, but I tried it then in that situation just to try it, just to see. And I automatically knew, like, this not even how this dynamic is supposed to be set up. And he was automatically turned off with the whole situation. And I honestly liked the fact that he was turned off, because that let me know for him, it's not only sexual either, that it's really deeper than that. But it was more so I wanted to see and try this just to see what happened in the situation. And the outcome showed me that the intentions are to build, to grow, to have fun, but to, like Janae said, still have that structure. You have that structure in the finances, you have that structure in the home. It's certain rules, in certain rules, there's just going to be rules. There's certain things that got to have structure, that's just going to have structure. But if you can allow it to flow, let it flow. And being bisexual is, I feel like, it's not one of the things at all.
Well, I have a question. When it comes to finances, do you all put money in one account to take care of household things, or how does that work?
We actually did that. Once we moved our sister wife in, we settled around. She did not have kids, by the way. I don't have kids, and she didn't have kids. We have 2 kids, a 14-year-old son and a 6-year-old son. And when it came to that, we pretty much sit down when we got our check. We knew what date each person, we would set our budget for the month. Our budget was 30 days at a time. We knew what day each person was getting paid and who was putting how much into this joint account. We had a joint account with our 3 of our names on it, and then we had our own personal accounts that we transferred the money from our personal over to the joint account. All of us have a debit card to the joint account. And me and her, pretty much it was us that sat down and came up with the budget. And he had the majority of the money that he was putting in, but when we put it all together, it was enough for everybody to do what they wanted to do. It was enough for the extracurricular activities, the bills being paid in full every month, the extracurricular activity for the kid, the travel, it wasn't a lot, but it was enough, and then we still had something to build on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't have any worry, if I could put it that way. Everything is paid in full. But it still came to a point where you just always want more. That's just us. That's just humans. We always desire more. You want expansion. You want more. And it did come to a point where we feel like, okay, as the man with 2 wives, okay, now it's time for you to put in more. Even though that is messed up, but if you're a man, wives just want to require double pretty much everything that you do. Double the effort in almost every area.
Do we have any questions up here? Asha, Sweet Tea?
Yeah, someone over here has a question. He says, well, his first question was, you could have a man that all to your own that was loyal, would you want it or no? And then the second one was, if you told your husband tomorrow that you wanted to get rid of the other wife and go back to monogamy, would he be okay with that?
Oh, that's strong. The first question was kind of choppy, but the second one I heard you where you said if he said to get rid of the second wife, would I be okay and go back to monogamy?
No, he said if
kind of tough as a second person, as a woman coming into a relationship that's already established versus being the woman that was in the relationship and established it. So with me being in the position that I was in, I would have been okay with it because my loyalty still is with him. So if he like, hey, she gotta go.
No, he was asking if you were to tell him that she has to go, would he be okay with that?
Oh, if I was you know what? I don't think he would have been okay with it at the time. No. It wouldn't have been that easy because you really don't want to start something and just drop it that easy. I don't think he would have been like, no, we just got to kick it to the curb unless something detrimental happened or she did something to harm myself or harm him. Like, it had to be something major, but just to be like, okay, I don't want to do this no more. I feel like me being the person that I am, I wouldn't even put that ultimatum on him. I would have let him know, okay, I no longer want to be a part of polygyny. This is not something I thought it was going to be, and I'll remove myself from the situation. But no, I wouldn't have put that ultimatum on him, like, hey, you got to tell her to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I know that's something that he desires. So to try to force him to conform to my desires will only lead back to those insecurities that so many women have in the first place. Is he go cheat? Is this going to happen? Is that...
That's what I was wondering too, though, because even when you said y'all were going through the process, you are part of the process. So that means what you say
it contributes to the decision making. So if it comes where it's a woman and he brings her to you and he says, I think she'll be great. I think she's the one. And you have that feeling and you know that's not who you want. How do y'all handle that?
That happened because we had the situation when our first sister wife we moved in. I was curious. We did the whole process, the move in, the combine of incomes, all of that kind of stuff. And then that didn't work. And about 8 months after she left, he spoke of a person that he knew from the past that he wanted to try polygyny with. I was introduced to her and it was a no for me. And we left it at that and kept moving.
Where do you stand now in terms of your relationship with this lifestyle? Where are you at now with this?
Where we're at now is taking the lessons that we learned from that experience and building from them. Like I said, I learned more about myself. I learned things that made me tick, things that places I had insecurities. I learned things about him when I observed him dealing with a different woman and different mannerisms and certain things he did. So I took all the things that I observed and all the things that I learned, and we pretty much just trying to build on them. We had to address them because I had some situations. I don't want to speak directly on it, but some stuff that made me feel uneasy. I feel like he was being fake in certain aspects when he was building a relationship with her. So we addressed those discomforts, and what we in now is just pretty much building. Like nothing has changed. Like we're still moving forward. We're still building our businesses. We're still working. We're still communicating. We're still doing everything we did in our polygamous relationship, in our monogamous relationship. And I feel like if he bring that conversation to me again about wanting a third person, at this point right now, I wouldn't be with it, and he's aware of that. Okay. I just feel like we got more growing to do, more healing to do, more money to make, more things to accomplish before we bring a third person into a relationship that's already established, because a lot of insecurities is going to come with that person. And I want it to be a little more comfortable to invite somebody else into our situation if we choose to do that again.
Okay. So is there a cutoff? Or he can have as many wives as he wants?
I never looked at it like that, like it's a cutoff. I just pretty much, with me, I've learned to go with the flow day to day. With that, it's not really, it's not those expectations. I'm not going to be like, hey, how many times do you think you're going to introduce a new woman to me? Or how many times, like, I don't really care. Like, if it gets to a point where it's overwhelming to me, I'll remove myself from the situation. Like, I'm not attached where I'm just stuck and be like, look, you better not introduce me to another bitch, or you been like it don't matter. If they become obsessive and I feel like it's a problem, I'm like, you know what, you gotta go your other way. You're doing too much. This is deeper than what you're portraying it to be. Or if I feel comfortable with it, I'm gonna go with it. I'm just pretty much basing it on how I feel at that moment. But if it become obsessive and I feel like it's outside of what we're really doing, or he using that as a front or a scapegoat to just mess around with multiple women, then I'll leave.
What about massages? What about love? What about all of that?
Well, you can get it anywhere, but I'm not going to let that replace that with my dignity. Just about allowing him to have another female, I feel like that's okay with me. So, but if, like I said, become obsessive, then that's not okay with me. But to just doing it initially and trying it, that's fine. But yeah, if it become obsessive, then I'm like, no, I'm cool.
I think that one of the, go ahead, Cleopatra.
Well, I asked Adrian if he had anything to add, since we have a male here on the line.
Pardon me. For a man to be able to have the opportunity to even date a woman who is open to polygamy, most men aren't going to take advantage of that situation.
Can you turn your volume up, Adrian, when I just asked? You were on mute.
Most of the time, when a man finds a woman who is open to polygamy, and he's not going to just he's not going to try to take advantage of that situation in order to, you know, fulfill his points. Like, he's going to try to go about this most respectful way in order for him to be able to achieve the dynamic that he feels is most fulfilling to him. So he's not just going to, you know, just be bringing a circle of women in and out and stuff like that, just presenting them left and right, like, well, what about this one? What about this one? Just trying to say I'm courting this woman just to be able to have like sexual relations with that woman or something like that. Like, men, like most men who are serious about a polygamous dynamic of a relationship are going to be very smart about how they present everything regarding it to their woman. So,
That's a fact. You said that.
I think that I agree with that too. But I think there are also, you know, some outliers that have it messed up. Like, I don't know if y'all know who Nature Boy is. Nature Boy had his, you know, it started off with just like, okay, it started off with like, okay, we're going back to nature. We're vegan. We have this, you know, empire that we're building. And he had a wife and then a sister wife here and there. And then it just became like a rotation of everybody switching wives that's in the camp. This man, okay, I'm through with you. So you go over there, be with this man. I'm going to bring somebody else in. So it let a lot of drama come up because they weren't, you know, it was a lot of toxicity going on, a lot of abuse, and also immaturity. And then it would just seem like it was more of a sex cult than actual nation building. Mm-hmm. So you do see those type of people in, you know, different type of lifestyles that women have to be aware of. Men too. You know, there's some outliers that come in with the destructive mindset when it comes to that too.
Mm-hmm. And I think that this is all. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I totally agree with. I see what she's saying.
Okay, I think that there's some similarities to an open relationship. Although with an open relationship, I think that the idea of getting the cooperation from multiple women to join, you know, one household or, you know, a family unit, as everyone is aware of one another. And I think sometimes that it is Black women that aren't cooperating with each other on that level. I think that it's starting to shift in terms of a lot of Black women are looking at this as you're saying about nation building. I like that aspect of it, but it's similar to an open relationship, except for coming together under one roof. It's not always with an open relationship.
Right. The open relationships don't have any structure. I feel like they don't have goals, like what's the goal or the structure. I
right.
Like with polygyny is more structured. You have goals. You're concerned about who you invite in your energy. You're cultivating kids. You're educating them. You're teaching them about finances. You're taking whatever aspects each person have within them that can help build a family. You all are pushing that out into the family so that y'all can build. Like, and then I'm gonna tell y'all this too. It's so funny and I don't really care how I sound, but when she and we had to become friends. The wives, the sister wives, we had to become friends. We had to understand each other. We had to have a long time with each other, just like the woman and the man have to have a long time with each other. Me and her had to get to know each other on different levels and share stories. And it created a friendship and a bond to where now neither one of us want to play by him. Like, you can't cheat, he can't cheat. It created a connection to where it was just different. Like, and then when all three of us would go out together and people will see both of us holding his hand, like, honestly, like, I like the attention. I like the fact that we was comfortable in our own skin and that we can all be together as friends and as companions and just enjoy the moments. Like, it wasn't so much about, oh, he mine, oh, no, he mine, or what he doing for you, or what. Like, it was none of that. It was just like all of us really was friends, going out, having a good time. And the only thing is that we both was having sex with the same man. Other than that, everything else was just what it was. And like I said, the same issues that you'll have in a monogamous relationship with some of the same issues. Who washing the dishes today? Who cleaning the bathroom today? Who taking the trash? Well, no, he was taking the trash out, but if you collecting the trash around the house and the simple stuff like that. Who taking this person to work, or who taking this person to school, or it was the same little small arguments that you have, but the basis of it and the part that mess with people so much is that y'all sitting on the same penis when so many other people have sit on that penis before, and it was gonna work out.
This penis wearing a condom.
Between us two, what we did, we all went and got checked. And we did not wear condoms after we came from the doctor. We had our annual, she had hers. We talked about that. We talked about, we just had conversations about it. And we all went and got our body checked and made sure that we didn't have anything that we can spread to the next person. So, no, we did not use condoms at all.
Okay, let me ask Adrian, because Adrian is nodding his head in agreement with everything that you're saying. So then, why isn't this something that you're practicing, Adrian?
It is something that we attempted. It was a little different with our dynamic because, like she said, there has to be a relationship established between the woman as well. So it was my preference that my lady finds the other woman. Like I would prefer my lady to find a woman that she would be comfortable with adding to, like, on her own personal level. Because I'm pretty sure, like, my criteria, she knows what my criteria is. My criteria is probably much less than what hers is. And I feel like, I don't know, I can pretty much bond with anybody as long as you're not like too real crazy or something like that. So like, I don't know. It's not going to be too hard for me to bond with a woman. And the way that men bond and women bond is completely, I think it's different in my opinion. So there was a lady that my lady knew, and she introduced her to the relationship, and we tried it for a while, a few months, but some things in the relationship changed, and it wasn't the right time for it. So
when things change, one specific thing that changed.
Honestly, my lady got pregnant.
Oh, okay. The other girl, what happened?
It wasn't that she wasn't happy. It was just that it was still in the beginning stages of us bringing her into, and then the time it would just, it felt that it was more of our decision to break away from her than her decision to break away from us.
I don't want to leave it. So it seems like she wasn't the right fit, because isn't that the purpose of y'all building this village? Wasn't she supposed to be there to help raise this baby?
I mean, that's a part of the reason. That's a benefit of polygamy, but that wasn't necessarily the reason. That wasn't necessarily her purpose. This is our first attempt at polygamy, and this was, it was not necessarily a trial. She wasn't like a guinea pig, but it was a trial and error. It's trying to see how it fits within our relationship.
It's like with any other relationship. If something happened and it no longer works, you end it and you do whatever you want to do. You heal, you pause, you take a break, or you date again. So it's just the same dynamic.
Do you think?
To me, it sounds like it's more than about building and finance, because why can't this person be not that attractive? If it's about building and finances, why can't she be a woman that's not that attractive, but she can come in and help build this village?
No,
But it's not being attractive in any relationship, in any platonic or in any type of physical relationship that you have with a person. There has to be a level of attractiveness there.
Somewhere.
Hold on. Do you have a question or a comment you wanted to add? Your connection is bad.
Just going on blindfolded dates, trying to looks matter. I don't care what anybody says.
Do
It
you
looks
think
better to me.
do you think that monogamy is realistic? Do you think that you can actually be with one person for the rest of your life forever?
Say that. Can you repeat that one more time?
Do you
Sorry.
think that monogamy is realistic?
Monogamy is realistic?
Do you believe that monogamy is realistic? Do you believe that a person could be with one person for the rest of their life forever?
For some people, it's realistic, but I don't think people have a realistic idea of what that looks like. People think like people don't even understand what the rest of their life. Like people don't understand, like even at 30.
We're not talking about people. What about you? What about you? Not people, you.
Me personally, could I just do one person for the rest of my life? I mean, I could, but I would probably feel like I'm missing something at the same time.
Damn.
He wouldn't want to. That's the answer. He would not want to be with the same woman for the rest of his life.
And does she know that?
I could be with the same man.
Right next to me.
I'm saying she knows that.
Yeah.
She said it right next.
Okay, we might have to do a show with just you and your woman and the angel with you and your man.
Okay, I gotta. If you go to my YouTube page too, I have a segment with he and I sit down talking about polygyny and just giving some insights on both of our perspectives too.
I'm talking about on this platform.
Yeah, I got you. It's just another perspective, a little research before we come to the platform.
Adrian, what would you do if you were every other woman to see your dynamic now?
Say that again.
Have her tighten up his dreads, his locks. What would you do differently if you brought a third party into your dynamic now that you've had that experience and you really like the way they work? What would you do differently?
So what would I do differently? I would take a little bit more time, like to try. Like, oh man, it's already like women are already so hard for men to understand. So
I swear we so hard to understand.
Like, it was much easier when I was just out here in the streets juggling different women, but this isn't that same dynamic. Like, I have to actually study another woman, and that takes time to develop. So I would want to just make sure that I establish a better bond with the woman as well. And I have like separation issues. So like some people, like they're easily attached. I'm easily able to separate. Like I don't really mind separating because I gotta be able to show more care and probably, show more effort within myself.
Well, Adrian, if you don't mind, would you please let your significant other know that we would love to have her as a guest, you and her, next Thursday, if you're all available, and you as well.
Next Thursday? Yes, ma'am. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you.
Asha, you have
It'll be
anything?
after 8:00 for me. I know it have to be like 8:30.
Let's see. So
That's fine. Asha, you have something?
yeah, I had a few comments over here. I know he was basically mentioning salary of the man. Like,
Your line is messing up.
do you feel like men should make at least six figures to be able to have that type of relationship? And sound like it. Yeah, that was a question that came up.
I think it make it easier. It make the small things that we make big. I think money will make those small insecurities easier to deal with.
So a man working at McDonald's, he need to not think about this.
He not ready.
Damn.
I'm not ready.
I think that when you talk about agreements and you let go of attachments, it kind of lends itself in the realm of pimping, because again, it just depends on what your perspective is, what your end goal is, and who is all involved, and are they all in agreement. So it just depends on what works for you in terms of how you want to move in this world when it comes to relationships, because there's all kinds of relationships. This kind of lends itself a little bit in a sense of a pimping lifestyle. Not that it is, but those that are involved in a pimping lifestyle are also coming together in a lot of ways, no pun intended, that they're making a way for each other to have easier lives based on having that camaraderie with sisterhood.
How is that the same when the lady, I said nicely, the lady of the night, her only job is to lay on her back and bring him the money?
I don't think she's talking about in that aspect, but almost in so many other aspects, I can kind of understand her perspective, but not in the aspect of the physical part where they have to physically have sex for money, but the other structural part, like coming into agreement, coming together, having an alpha male, probably saying certain rules and y'all put y'all rules together. But she mentioned the agreement part. I think that was more so that part versus the sexual part is what she meant. Maybe, I don't know. Sweet tea.
Yeah, I mean, I know that if the physical part is coming in, then you have to be able to understand where is that pool of finances being added to. If she's laying on her back or if she's standing on her feet, whatever she's doing to earn the money, where is it all going? Is there a joint account? Is there a reason as to why perhaps they're all going to get themselves out of college, paying their tuition? It just depends on what's the common goal, in terms of what she's going to do with that money that she earns.
Let me ask you this, Sweet Tea. What about I know a millionaire personally. He's made $1 million off his own business that he started from scratch. He have a wife that she works at the job, sometimes anywhere from 8 to 16-hour days. She's putting in work at this job that they built together. But he pays for everything, but she's putting in 8 to 16 hours at this job. Is he pimping her?
Absolutely. And she's in agreement with that because she's using her body as physical labor. She's putting herself through a physical labor, and perhaps the job that she's on, she enjoys it.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, I got you.
I have a question.
Not drop pin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. I want to know what it is that you personally, Angel, as the woman, because I know a lot of times situations are built so that everybody kind of can progress, everyone can have assistance, even when it comes to kids, not having kids yet. What is the main benefit that you get out of the system?
The main benefit that I get out of polygyny, honestly, is the comfort that I feel in the relationship that I've never felt in a monogamous relationship. It really just boils down to the comfort. I've never had this much access to my partner's life, their income, their finances, their bank account numbers, social security, phone passwords, computers. The access and the comfort that it brings, that's really what it boils down to.
You think that's because of the friendship that y'all have, or because of the dynamic of the polygyny? Because couldn't that be
both of them?
Because we're friends, so I'm able to bond with you and connect with you on a certain level. It's a certain level, in my opinion, it's a certain level of respect that you kind of have for each person. When there's a foundational point of I respect you and like you as a person and as my friend.
Right. So what's the question?
I was just saying, I think that comes with access too, just having the foundation as friends versus it being because of the situation. You think the friendship?
You can't have this type of dynamic we have without the friendship. It started with the friendship. It's going to end with the friendship. The friendship is going to always be an aspect. But when you go from friendship to a romantic relationship, the difference I think is the romance, is the commitment, is the conversations, is the understandings, is the coming together and agreeing to do certain things that friends wouldn't do. So the friendship made me want to do it, as well as the curiosity and the comfort that it brought, whether it was before, after, or whether it was during the polygamous relationship or after. I just like the comfort that came along with it still at the end of it all.
I believe
So
that.
is this something that he practiced before you, or something that
He's cheated on different women. He's been in a monogamous relationship with a female that I knew of, and he and I was friends, and we didn't like each other in that way at all. It was strictly platonic. And he was faithful to her. But toward the end, they broke up, and then he was instantly dating a lot of different girls. So I've seen him in different aspects. I've seen him in a monogamous relationship. I've seen him as a cheater, and I've seen him as a person who just didn't want to deal with women because they getting their life together. So I've seen him in different ways.
Yeah, I believe that you have to have a triple A meeting in any aspect of a relationship. You have to have an AAA meeting, and that's going to involve acceptance, agreement, and accountability.
I agree. And I think that's with every relationship.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just all about what the dynamic you desire to have. And if it works for you, like we said earlier, whatever the rules are between you and your person, that's just what it is. It doesn't have to make sense to nobody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adrian. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If the man was able to provide enough income where the other women didn't have to work, would it still be pimping?
Absolutely. Because it is something that is an exchange. You have an exchange going on, because we all have to be comfortable with what we decide as a whole. You know, what whole are you putting yourself into? Are you using the front or the back? But at some point, we're going to need to be able to come to an understanding of what we're actually doing here. Now, is that whole for the community, or is that whole for the unity that we've created in our home?
Pimping.
Absolutely.
So I just want to understand how what would be the requirements for a polygamous relationship to not be perceived as a form of pimping?
I don't compare the two, because in a polygamy relationship, they're not necessarily having sex to be able to maintain the business. They're not actually doing that for that purpose. They're doing it to build community within one family. Now, in pimping, you may have a multitude of women that are freelancing, and they are also perhaps sometimes they get involved with tricks and they leave the premises. They don't stay within that community. So there's all kinds of dynamics that go on, but the main thing is, what are you all deciding what works best for you in your home?
I think he's trying to figure out, are you saying they're one and the same, or are you saying there's just similarities?
There's similarities. There's definitely similarities.
Yeah. About it, I feel like when you agree to be a part of a polygamous relationship, you have to be comfortable with people calling it all kind of stuff. You have to be comfortable with the judgment. You have to be comfortable with the different perspectives, because it's so different. It's not traditional,
Right.
and it's viewed as it has so many negative connotations that's connected to it from people that's never tried it.
Right.
So you have to be comfortable with
I think it was a great show. Thank you everybody for being so open, because this is the table where you can lay it all down on the table. And I think that it's just a matter of do what works for you. We have this one life that we know of in this human experience on this earth. So whatever floats your boat, do it. And you know that your dynamic is what you choose.
Okay, let me go to Janae. Great show. I've learned a lot. I've just been listening. Thank y'all. And I too want to thank you all for joining us, Adrian and Angel. We look forward to you all coming back and sharing a little bit more with us for those that don't know about this type of lifestyle. No judgment here. I want to say do what makes you happy. Love you, Angel. But go ahead.
Hurry up now, you gotta count.
I would say pimping ain't for everybody, but everybody has been pimped. I said pimping ain't for everybody, but everybody has been pimped, meaning they have been fucked. See you later.
See you later. Oh Lord. Thank y'all for joining.
Thank you all.
I ended that one too quick. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Drunk. I wish I knew your real name, but thank you, IG. Thank you. Let's see. Hold on. We still live here before you get to talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice. And I appreciate the fact that everyone decides what's best for them when it comes to what kind of relationship that you want, because the judgments are going to be there.
Absolutely.
Regardless. So you decide what works best for you, and you have a conversation with the person or persons that are in your life to come together to try to decide where we go from here. And once that decision and understanding is there, hey, the sky is the limit.
Oh God. Where did we go wrong? All right, y'all. I'm just trying to post this to Instagram. Not letting me put the picture I want. So let's see if we could take a selfie for the cover photo. Oh, it's not letting me.
For the cover. Oh, that part.
Right. It's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I use that one. That's good.
Your girl looks mad.
Yeah, so it's a choice.
All right. Thank y'all for joining.
Thank you.